morning. Lily here again. Today I'm going to be doing a 3-part series of videos. It'd be too long to make one long video, so I'm going to split it up. On this one I'm going to be doing cheese enchiladas, and the next one will be pressure cooker refried pinto beans, and the next one will be Spanish rice. So I hope y'all tune into all 3 of them. At the very last video I will plate it all up and let y'all see what it looks like in the end. So we're going to get started on the chili gravy for the cheese enchiladas. So I have over here my pan. I'm still trying to figure this video thing out, y'all, so just be patient with me, please. Let me move that up a little bit. There we go. I think that's better. Anyways, the recipe calls for 1/4 of a cup of cooking oil. And this is liquid, so I'm going to do it in a liquid measuring. If it's something dry, then I'll do it in a cup measuring. I got my camera on my recipe. Okay, let's see. What I like to do is I like to mix all my seasonings up at one time before I get started, because once you get the process going, it goes pretty quickly. I've got a 1/4 cup of flour right here that I've already measured out. And we're going to need a 1/2 teaspoon of black pepper. Okay, got that. We are going to need 1 teaspoon of salt. Right there. And now we're going to need 1 1/2 teaspoons of garlic powder. Okay, this is a 1. And this is a 1/2. Okay, then we're going to need 2 teaspoons of ground cumin. Cumin tastes really good. I don't know if y'all are familiar with that spice, but man, for a Mexican food dish, it's wonderful. 2 tablespoons of chili powder, which I forgot to get out, but I have it right here. The recipe also calls for Mexican oregano, but I don't have any oregano, so I'm going to leave it out, but I bet you it'll turn out just fine. I'm just going to give these a quick stir. Okay, that looks good. I'm going to turn on my burner to probably a medium. I got it 1 notch above medium. I'm going to put my cooking oil in there and get it hot. Okay. Oh, here it is. Okay. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to stir in the flour, and I'm going to continue stirring it for about 3 minutes, because you want the flour, you want it to cook. You don't want that raw flour taste in your gravy. So I've got the flour in there, and I cook with a timer, y'all. It just gives me an idea of how long I've got things going. So I got it on 3 minutes, and you're gonna stay here by it, because once it gets to a light brown roux, then we're gonna add the spices. I also, it calls for 2 cups of chicken broth, and I make my own out of when we get rotisserie chicken, I save the bones and I put them in the freezer. So when I'm ready to make chicken broth, I wait for two rotisserie chickens and then I make my broth out of that. And when I get to, that'll be another video I'll show y'all. It makes your recipe so good, and you get to control the salt in it as well. And I use it in my soups. I use it like for the chili gravy. I use it in, if I'm making cornbread dressing, I put some of that on top of that. I'll be showing y'all a squash dressing recipe pretty soon, and I use that in that as well. It's delicious, y'all. I usually make that on holidays, and it's one of probably the most requested recipes, I think, for my company. I love to entertain. I love to host Christmas or Thanksgiving or whatever. Any holidays, a reason to cook and be with your family as you're giving thanks, of course. All it's doing in here is it's just boiling a little bit. It's not really the color we want it for yet. You want it to be like a light brown. This is kind of like if you were making your enchiladas with a can of enchilada sauce, but you're making your own. But the recipe calls it a chili gravy, so. And it is like a gravy. It's delicious on top of those corn tortilla wrapped cheese enchiladas. I think y'all will like this recipe if you give it a try. So I've got a 1/4 cup of oil, and I've got 3 tablespoons, a 1/4 of a cup of flour. 1/4 of a cup of oil and a 1/4 of a cup of flour. When you're making regular gravy, that's your ratio too. You know, if you're making regular gravy, then you're going to do however much oil you put in there, that's how much flour you put in there as well. And this is the same concept of just making regular white gravy. You want to get the dark color, gives it that flavor. Of course, you'd salt and pepper it if this was regular gravy at this point, because if you don't salt the roux when you're making the gravy, you just can't get enough salt in there. The timer already beat, but I'm letting it go just a little bit longer because it's getting there. See what color it is now? Let me see if y'all can see that. That's about the color of what you're looking for. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pour my spices in there, and what you're doing, you're going to cook them for about a minute because you want to get that raw seasoning flavor off of them. It smells delicious, y'all. And I'll set the timer, but I don't know if I'll go for the whole minute. Sometimes I do and sometimes I don't. And then I'm going to put the 2 cups of homemade chicken broth in here. Now, if you don't have homemade, you don't want to fill with it because a lot of people work. When I worked outside the home, I would do it on weekends when I had time, and then I'd freeze it in freezer bags. And that's what I did with this. I made it when I have extra celery and stuff, and it's getting ready to go bad on me. It's not bad yet. I will go ahead and make the chicken stock if I have the two chickens. Or you don't have to use rotisserie. You can roast your own chicken, but to me, I just feel like, why not use the bones that you've already got? I mean, it's still good. Then I strain all that out of there and you can't even tell. But this is getting about where I want it. The timer's about to go off, so I'm going to start adding my chicken broth. And this is 2 cups. This is 1. I'm fixing to do the 2nd cup now. I'm pouring it out of the baggies that I had in the freezer. And you, like I said, if you don't want to go through the trouble of making your own, or you don't have time, you store-bought. I'd probably do the lower salt one because you don't want it to be too salty. So here's the 2nd cup. And you want to whisk it together until and bring it to a boil. When it starts boiling, that's when it starts thickening up. So that's what you're looking for. And then I'm gonna let this simmer for about 15 minutes after it comes to a boil. And of course, I'm not gonna make y'all wait for that. We will stop the video while it's simmering, and then I'll show you what it looks like. The cheese enchiladas are the fastest and easiest enchiladas you'll come by, but any enchiladas are pretty easy. And I don't cook my corn tortillas in cooking oil like a lot of people do. I think it makes them just way too greasy. But if you want to and you like it that way, go ahead. Just put you some grease in a small pan, and when it gets hot, just drop your corn tortillas in there and do it for about 30 seconds or so, and then drain them real good on paper towels. But to me, that's just not what I like doing anymore. I used to. I just put mine between damp paper towels and I microwave them for about 30 seconds, and it makes them pliable. Then you can roll them up. That's what I'm going to be doing. It's not come to a boil yet. It's working on it though. Let's see, I got the wrong lids on here. I use a lot of spices in my cooking, so I have found that these small mason jars or canning jars or whatever, they work wonderful, and I have them labeled on the top. But that's just my thing. I like it like that. It's easy to get to. You can buy the spices in big jars at Sam's or Costco or wherever you like to go, or Walmart for that matter, and refill them as you need them. It's starting to boil a little bit, but I want it to boil a little bit more so I can have it thicken up on me a little bit. Of course, when it's simmering, it'll thicken up too. Now, I don't cover it up or anything like that. I just let the stove get to do whatever it's gonna do. Okay, it's coming up to a pretty good simmer. It's still not where it needs to be. It's getting there. Excuse me. Sometimes those spices, they go right up your nose when you're stirring. Okay, it's coming up to a pretty good boil. I don't know if y'all can see that. I'm gonna try to move the whole tripod. See how that looks? Oops, sorry, wrong way. And that's what you want it to do. And now I'm just gonna turn it down to a low simmer. I'm gonna set the timer for 15 minutes. Oops, sorry, I'm talking and y'all ain't seeing me. I set the timer for 15 minutes, and when it gets through, we'll come back on here and I'll put some cheese enchiladas together for you, and we'll bake them. And when I get through, like I said earlier, when I get through doing the other two side dishes, I'll plate it all up so you can see what it looks like. Thank y'all for watching. I hope y'all are having a wonderful day. Hello y'all, I'm back. The timer's about to go off. In fact, I'm gonna go ahead and turn it off because it's pretty much where we wanted it to be. See how dark it got with all those spices we put in there? And we probably want to take it off the burner for a minute so when we're handling the tortillas, it won't be so hot. And now I'm gonna slice up an onion, and then we're gonna get these tortillas rolled up and ready to go. Like I showed y'all on another video, which I'll show you again, this is the way I slice my onions, or chop them. I just make slits across the top and then I go down. You gotta be careful not to get your finger. And then I just slice them like this, and then it chops the onion up in the sizes that you made your slits in. So we're gonna need these. Now, if you don't like onions, you don't have to put them in your enchiladas. If you're making them yourself, you can do them the way you want. You can put as little or as much onion in it as will fit, or as you want. I think that's probably going to be enough for now. And I'm going to cut up a little bit of cilantro for garnish. I'm just trimming some of the leaves off of it. I'm not going to cut up a whole bunch. That's just going to garnish the top when it comes out of the oven. Hope y'all can hear me okay. Now I'm going to take this pan here and I'm going to spray it a little bit. I certainly don't want them to stick. And now what I'm going to do, I'm going to wet these 2 paper towels. Just damp them, that's all you got to do. They don't have to be soaked, but in fact I did get them a little soaked, but I think it'll be fine. Because you want those tortillas to get in that microwave and get pliable so that it'll be easy for us to roll them up. And I'm only doing 10. The recipe calls for 8. You can actually do however many will fit in your pan and however much sauce chili gravy you have. Okay, so I got that covered up in a damp paper towel, and I'm going to microwave it for 30 seconds. And then I'm going to get ready to start putting these together. I've got cheese here. This is a blend of taco cheese and Fiesta blend, but whatever cheese you like is whatever cheese you can put in your enchiladas. It doesn't really matter. What I like to do is I like to put a little bit of the sauce on the bottom of the pan. I know I've sprayed it already, but man, there's nothing worse than trying to scrub a cheese enchilada out of a pan. So I try to do a little double there. Okay, corn tortillas are ready. And I'm just working like a little assembly line here. Let me move you over so you can see better. I sprayed the pan first with that. I'm going to take out one of the enchiladas, or corn tortillas, sorry. And I just put as much on there that'll fit. Because I'm going to top the top of these as well. Then I put some onions. And then I roll them up. See, like that. And I'm going to put them seam side down in this pan. And we're going to do another one. I don't know exactly. I think probably a couple tablespoons of cheese. And however many onions you like. You want to put enough cheese in there so when it melts, it'll go all over that tortilla. I'm going to go ahead and start my oven. I put it on 350. I'm preheating it. Now another thing that would be good in this would be either some taco meat. Wouldn't be cheese enchiladas anymore, but it'd be enchiladas. Or if you like refried beans, would even be good in that. Which I'll be making next, by the way. Because this is all, I'm doing a video. It's going to be a 3-part, like I said, and I'm going to plate it up at the last video so y'all can see. And also, if you wanted to, when you had if you had a little bit of extra time today and you have a really busy schedule, you could put these in a tin full pan and cover them up good and put them in your freezer. And when you're ready to have enchiladas again, just take them out the night before and stick them in your fridge. And then heat them up. You don't even have to bake them first. You can just do it as you get them done, because the thing with these enchiladas, everything's cooked except the onion, and it don't take long for that at all. And let's see how many left I got. Okay. You're just reheating anyways. And when you put them in the oven, you're just putting them in there long enough for the cheese to melt anyway, so it's not that big of a deal. I wasn't going to keep y'all on here the whole time, but I'm almost done now, so. Okay. Get one more in there. I hope y'all are learning something from me. I hope y'all are willing to try some of these recipes. They're not very hard. Okay, now I've got my tortillas in my pan. They're all rolled up. I'm gonna take this chili gravy and I'm gonna just put it all over every one of them. You want to make sure you hit every tortilla you see, because if you don't, when it's in the oven, it'll get hard. We don't want that. So you just take the time, and if you don't use all the chili gravy, it's no big deal. Just cool it off and freeze it, and use it next time if you want to. I freeze everything, y'all, but I do go back and use it as well. Okay, and now what I'm going to do is, I've got extra cheese here. I'm just putting cheese on top. And I'll probably put it in the oven about 20 minutes. This is a real fast cheese enchilada recipe. I mean, it's crazy fast. Once you get the chili gravy made, it's downhill from there. Okay, and I put extra onions on the top. If you don't like them, leave it off, of course. And wash my hands. And it's easy cleanup too. There's not a whole lot of mess here either. Time you get that paper towel off the plate and put it in the trash. I don't cover it up when I put it in the oven. I should have started preheating the oven quicker, but I didn't. You can learn from my mistakes. Just preheat your oven in plenty of time. And this is what it looks like before it goes into the oven. It's real good. And it hasn't preheated yet, but for the sake of time, I'm going to go ahead and put it in there. It ain't going to hurt nothing. I put it on the top rack, and I'm going to set the timer for 20 minutes. And then when the 20 minutes is up, we'll come back on here and pull them out and see what it looks like. Hope y'all are enjoying this video, and I look forward to seeing you in a few minutes. Thank you. Okay, y'all, it's not quite been 20 minutes, but I looked at it a while ago and it looks like it's about done, so I'm going to take it out. And this is what it looks like when it's done. I'll shut the oven off. I'll just take a little bit of cilantro and kind of spread it over the top. And there is your cheese enchiladas, y'all. Don't that look good? I can't wait to taste it. I'll turn that timer off. And like I said, this will be a 3-video series. And next up will be refried beans in the pressure cooker. So if you've never used a pressure cooker, I use electric. I'll be honest with you, the ones that aren't electric, I'm scared of them. So we're going to do the electric pressure cooker refried beans. And if you don't have a pressure cooker, it's no big deal. Just do it all in your crock pot. I've done that for many, many years too, and they all taste the same and turn out perfect every time. So next up will be pressure cooker refried beans. I hope y'all are enjoying my video series, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye. Okay, let me save this video.